Hey guys, I'm Karlyn Borysenko with Decode the Left. This is a live stream over on my Substack. That is Karlyn, Karlyn .substack.com. You guys are not going to believe what I found on a college website last night. You're not going to believe this. So last night, I was doing what I typically do at night. I find my best research comes at night because it's quiet. There's not nonsense going on. I can really kind of just like dig in and zone out. And I love doing tasks where like I'm just kind of like looking around or like snooping into things. And college websites are always a great place to snoop around. And I'm working on this project for the Center of Left-Wing Studies where I'm trying to get a handle on all the different research centers around gender and queer ideology and stuff like that exist at colleges and universities throughout the country, because a lot of people don't understand this. College is not just about taking classes. At a lot of colleges, they have these different grant-funded research centers that turn out some of the craziest far leftist research that you're going to find anywhere. And it's these centers that you probably never heard of that are actually pushing a lot of leftist ideology into the public. And so one of the things I'm working on with the Center for Left-Wing Studies is I want to get a handle on how many of these centers exist, where do they exist, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, I found myself trudging deep into the bowels of several college websites, and I found some things. I found some things that cannot be unseen. I found a couple treasure troves of videos that we are going to be watching on the stream this week. So make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed to my Rumble channel. Wherever you want to watch the streams, fine. YouTube is the best place to watch the streams. But I found some stuff, and I want to show you and give you a little bit of a preview of what I found. So let me see. Do I have anything incriminating on my screen? I don't think so. Okay, let me see. Let me see. The first thing that I found that we're going to start watching tomorrow, because we have to do another stream today. We have to finish up the Denver Communist stream that we were doing yesterday. So we can't watch it today, but we will be watching it starting tomorrow, is the City College of New York. The City College of New York has this center called the Center for Lesbian and Gay Studies. That's what CLAGS stands for, Center for LGBTQ Studies, essentially. The City College of New York is, anytime you see the term CUNY, that means taxpayer-funded New York City College, okay? Back in June, CUNY hosted a queer Marxist BDSM kink series. This is not just one lecture. This was a series of lectures that they hosted a couple months ago called The Power of Leather. And saying it's a year-long series, but I mean, I got all their recordings. And they put their recordings online and they put them in a playlist that was kind of buried on the internet. But I found all of them. Now, don't worry, I've already downloaded and archived all of these recordings. So even if CUNY removes these from their YouTube channel where they are currently housed, we will still have access to them. And they worked with a group called Kink Out to host what they're calling like an experiential art event called Incarnate. And you can see, these are some of the images that you're going to be seeing coming out of this Incarnate event. So yeah, this is just an art event. It's just art. It's only art. This definitely isn't kink. Definitely not taxpayer-funded kink. Now, there's a whole bunch of presentations, as you guys can see here. We're going to be watching a couple of them tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be an extra long stream. We're going to start with this event, If Fantasy Identities Can't Hold, Leather and the Trans Experience. You see this person right here in the middle. You should recognize this person from a stream we did recently. This is Susan Stryker. This is one of the most preeminent trans historians in the country. So they got a Susan Stryker event. And then they've got, look at this cast of characters: Reverence, Bootlicking, and the Legacies That Bind Us. Look at this cast of characters. This is just, and actually, if you want to see the full exhibit for this event, there it is. This is the, see this guy licking a boot, literally licking a boot. You can see, yeah. This is taxpayer-funded City University of New York, and we have all the presentations for it. They actually sold tickets to this. Look, they were pushing people into this Kink Out Incarnate event as part of the series. This is like, that's Kink Out's Instagram. Let's see. This is the City University of New York, the Center for LGBT Studies Instagram. And you can see if we scroll down, just so people are like, no, this is absolutely connected. Now they recently had Angela Davis on Channel 2, but oh wait, here it is. This is on the City University of New York Instagram. So this is not something I'm just making up. This is going to be better than the Queer Rope series. Trendlin is going to be filled or thrilled, not filled, maybe filled as well if Trendlin's really getting saucy. I don't know. But yeah, they even have a whole bookstore for the Power of Leather series where they're recommending all these different books and stuff like that. And this is their poster. This is the poster for the Power of Leather series. So yes, thank you. Thank you, City University of New York, for the gifts that you were about to give us. We're going to learn a lot over the next couple days about things I'm not sure entirely gonna be safe for work, but they were funded by the taxpayer at a public college, and so maybe we should watch them. We just need to do our due diligence. So my plan for this is there are actually several presentations as part of this series. Like I said, I have downloaded all the presentations. There's no way they can get rid of them. I have all the files. I have them archived. Even if they take them off their YouTube channel, we're still gonna have access to them, so it doesn't really matter what they do or anything like that. But there are several presentations in part of this series, and I almost had a marathon. I almost said, why don't we just take a full day and watch a full day of leather BDSM kink events? But then I did math, and it was 9 hours. 9 hours of BDSM leather kink workshops at the City University of New York. And just so people are aware, so this is not just about sex. I know this for obvious reasons you might think this is just about sex. It is not just about sex, all right? The leather community, kink, BDSM, this is all part of queer Marxism. It's their way of queering sex. It's their way of doing experiments with power relations. The fact that Susan Stryker is one of the speakers at these series tells us exactly what this is going to be. And so, yeah, so Reagan says it would be overwhelming if we need 9 straight hours of BDSM leather kink workshops. Yeah, I think that might be a little bit much. I think that might drive me insane even more than socialism because it's like the same thing for 9 hours long. It's like, Reagan, do you remember when we watched that women's psychology conference for like a day and a half? That was like the same thing. And they were talking about sex at that conference too. They talk about sex all the time. Anyway, so that was one of the things that I found on the CUNY website last night. Let me show you another thing that I found. So I also found, hang on, let me make sure. I've got a whole bunch of websites I'm looking into right now. Hang on. Okay, so I was on the Columbia University Institute for the Study of Sexuality and Gender. So this is another one of these weird centers that exists at universities. And so I was trolling around this website and I was like looking for upcoming events. They didn't have any yet because we're going to be seeing a lot of events coming up at colleges, but they did have actually, I found a link. Here's what I want to say. I found a link to their Vimeo channel. And Vimeo, as we have recently learned, is like the holy effing grail of leftist activist videos. We've got to start looking around Vimeo because if you can find these places Vimeo channels, you get access to gold. And check it out. Look what I found. I found a recording of an event they had back in March with Alexander. Alexander, whose name I can't pronounce. How do we pronounce his name? Steffel, Seffel, Sieffel. We watched him on the channel before, but look, this is a whole presentation about queer Marxism, the making of queer radical tradition that took place at Columbia University in March. And this channel has again another whole treasure trove of channels. Look, sex, gender, everything in between. They've got a whole series of talks about that. And these are all videos that are just sitting on this Vimeo channel that have been sitting here for like a while. And these are all the crazy kind of queer stuff that's been going on at this college. And of course, this is Columbia, so it's going to be extra crazy. This goes back for years and years and years and years and years. I'm most interested in this queer Marxism one. I'm thinking we're going to watch this on Thursday. If that BDSM leather thing doesn't need to continue, I'm kind of hoping we can get away with a one day on that BDSM leather thing. But if it's really good, we're going to have to watch other presentations too. But we are going to be watching this presentation at some point. I also do have another presentation with this guy and Jules Joey Gleason from Historical Materialism channel, all about sexual liberation and queer and stuff like that. So we got a lot of stuff going on the queer Marxist research front. Now, here's the thing. I want to make an ask of you guys for help. And I know I already have some great volunteers that are working with me for the Center of Left-Wing Studies, and I already appreciate you guys. I want to put an idea out there though, because so part of what I've been doing, and listen, so part of why I'm doing this now is college is coming back into session. It's been a quiet summer. Well, on college camp on college campuses, it's been a quiet summer, okay? But colleges are about to come back into session. That means professors are back on campus, students are moving back into campus. And what does that mean for us? It means we're about to see a lot of crazy stuff going on college campuses. But I'm not interested just in like the encampments and the protests and all that stuff you're going to see on the news. What I'm interested in is what is going on at these research centers. Part of the challenge of this is that there are 4,000 colleges and universities in the country. I can only do so much as one person to find these research centers, and I'm trying to do a pretty good job. I'm logging all these research centers. We're going to keep an eye on these research centers. We're going to be looking at their events. We're going to make sure we're setting up ways to track all of them in real time. That's part of what we're doing with the Center for Left Wing Studies. However, you could actually do me a favor, and this is no matter where you are in the country. What I want you to do is start looking into these types of research centers at colleges and universities near you. And of course, like you could always look at the big ones like the Ivies or like the main publics or stuff like that. But what I really want to do is I want to get into just like I want to make sure we're doing a good job of tracking these at all sorts of different colleges. And so if you guys want something to do that would really help me out, it's a little tricky because you don't always know what language they use. I would start digging into the college websites of colleges near you that you maybe have a vested interest in. Maybe you want to look into your alma mater. Maybe you want to look into the public taxpayer funded university near you. You could really pick out any college and just start researching this. Find these centers. Oftentimes, they're gonna have, like, Center for Study of Gender and Sexuality or something like that in the title, but it could also be just a random thing, like, some of these are just, like, the Kleiman Center for X, Y, B, and Z, or they have these weird names. What you need to do is just dig into these college websites and just start looking around and just go down these rabbit holes and look for anything that could be interesting or related to queer, or related to leftism, related to gender ideology, stuff like that. Log that information and send it to me. I need to expand the number of people who are digging into these college websites because listen, like you can see the number of tabs. Hang on. You can see the number of tabs that are open in this one browser. This is just from like a couple this is just a couple of things from colleges that I have to look at last night. I spent about 20 minutes doing that and I already found this is part of the problem with this type of research is like you start researching something for 20 minutes and before you know it you've got 87 tabs open on your browser because there's so much of this shit on college websites. It's not even funny. Anyone who tells you that DEI is dead at colleges doesn't know what they're talking about. Christopher Rufo can go fuck himself because like I can go on to literally I have almost every single Ivy League school on my desktop right now and how they're pushing gender and how they're pushing queer stuff like in real effing time. I had this in real time. Another ask I would make is I know some of you work for colleges and universities, some of you work for these schools. You are in an even better position than I am. I have many members of my community who work for these schools, and if you are one of them, please reach out to me and tell me and tell me how you can help me as kind of an insider because people who work at the schools, you guys have the school email addresses, or even if you're a student at schools or things like that, if you have the .edu email address, please reach out to me and tell me because you can get access to things with that email address that I can't get access to as like a public outsider. So that is a very big thing, and I would love to start building up. I already have a bunch of people who I know who work at colleges or in education all over the country, but I would love to start building up that team of people where you guys are keeping an eye on your college campus. You guys are going to these events. You guys are collecting these materials and stuff like that. It is very, very important that we start archiving this stuff. And it's kind of like there's going to be so much stuff that's going on. It's going to be impossible for me just as one person to keep track of. But if we work as a team and we work together and everyone's keeping an eye on maybe a college or two, then that's when we can really start to log this stuff and make sure we're archiving it because this is how we're going to know where the left is going. The colleges are not the first. The colleges, okay, the origin point for queer ideology is the queer anarcho-communist subculture. However, colleges and universities are kind of like the first organized bastion of queer ideology, whereas queer anarcho-communist subculture is purposefully disorganized. It's purposefully decentralized. It's almost impossible to track. We're going to try to do that too, but it's much more difficult because it's kind of like queer anarcho-communist subculture doesn't play by any rules, it doesn't play by any structure, it's purposefully unstructured, things like that. But once you start getting into the college and university system where you have these centers popping up that are looking into queer ideology and looking into gender and sexuality and all this other crazy woke shit, they have to operate within the structure of the university. Now, I worked in higher education for 10 years. I worked as an administrator. I've worked as a consultant. I've even taught classes and things like that. I know how higher education works. So once we get into the structure of higher education, it doesn't matter how decentralized these activists are in the real world. Once you get into the structure of higher education, you have to work in a certain way. And that actually benefits us because it's going to make it easier for us to find their materials. Okay. And a lot of these organizations that are doing this, they're nonprofits. And so they have to put this content out there. That's part of being a nonprofit is you have to be doing this stuff for charitable purposes. You can't just, if you are getting a grant to do something, you have to actually put out the content of that grant. So that, again, that benefits us where we can find evidence, we can collect this evidence, we can collect these videos, and if they don't release them publicly, then we can maybe get them in trouble and take away their nonprofit status. I'm just saying. So if we all work together to see what's going on with the colleges and universities around us, these were two websites I found out of 2 dozen that I found last night that just already have crazy stuff on them. Can you imagine how much crazy stuff exists on the websites of the 4,000 colleges and universities all throughout this country that is not even being looked at because retards on the conservative right are running around going, DEI is dead, woke is dead. It's not dead. It's just where you're not looking for it, assholes. Just because a DEI office on campus got eliminated doesn't mean they stop producing this stuff. Now, don't get it twisted. I love that they're eliminating DEI offices on campus. What a colossal waste of student money, honestly, and it always was. But that doesn't mean the ideology is dead. In fact, DEI was just a low-level delivery mechanism for the ideology in the first place. And so if we can go back, we can get to the heart of where this stuff is coming from. We're going to find a lot of crazy stuff. So that is my update there, guys. I'm streaming in about 10 minutes. We are not going to be watching the leather thing today. We're going to be watching the leather thing tomorrow. Tomorrow being Wednesday, if you're watching this live stream on Tuesday. In about 10 minutes, we're going to be finishing up the Denver Communist secretly recorded book club that we started watching yesterday. If you missed yesterday, don't worry about it. You can still come. We got about 20 minutes left of that video. But also, the Denver Communists have posted a couple interesting videos lately on their YouTube channel that I figured we would follow up their secret book club with a couple of their public videos so we could just continue with our Denver Communist theme for today. That is what we're going to be doing at 5 p.m. on the channel. I stream live on YouTube, on X, on Rumble, on Kick. You can find me on any of those platforms. And then we're going to be doing this Power of Leather thing tomorrow. And then I think we're going to be doing the Queer Marxism thing on Thursday. And it's going to be awesome. All right. So I want to appreciate everyone that supports my work. If you don't yet support my work, please consider supporting it today. Please become a member of the Substack, $8 a month, $80 a year. I'm 100% independently funded. I can't work until 3 a.m. trolling around college websites looking for this content that no one else on the internet is showing you unless you guys independently fund my work. So if you're in the position to financially do so, please consider funding it. You can also donate to the Center for Left-Wing Studies, make a tax-deductible gift through there. That is leftwingstudies.com. And if you want more options for support other than the Substack, you can head over to decodetheleft.com/support and find some options there. But I really would appreciate people signing up for memberships in the Substack. It's not a lot of money, $8 a month, $80 a year, and it keeps me in business and it keeps me independent and it allows me all the time to be able to do this type of research, which of course I really appreciate that you guys allow me to do this for you. So I'm going to go get ready for the streams now and thank you for stopping by and take care, guys. We'll see you soon.